Hello, everybody, and welcome to Taking Control, the ADHD podcast on True Story FM. I'm Pete Wright, and I'm here with Nikki Kinzer.
Hello, Pete Wright.
Oh, hi. How are you?
I'm playing with my lights.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were going to start.
Yeah, no, I was starting. We're starting
you
hot.
spooked me a little bit.
Starting hot. So you don't. It's very exciting. Just jump in. I like to make sure you're really on your game, and sometimes the surprise of improvisation.
It works.
Is good.
I'm on my
great.
game.
We're doing something really interesting today. We're talking to Morgan Hancock, and Morgan is a vet and living with ADHD in the military. And this is something I have wondered about for years and years and years. And so we're going to talk to Morgan about that and about all of the good work that she's been doing since, and all is a way of continuing our conversation on being a business person with ADHD, entrepreneurs and ADHD. It's very exciting. What do you think? Are you excited about it?
I am. I'm like you. I'm very curious. Very curious.
Like me. Very curious.
Yeah.
Before you do that, head over to takecontroladhd.com. Get to know us a little bit better. You can listen to the show right there on the website or subscribe to our mailing list, and we'll send you an email each time a new episode is released. You can connect with us on Facebook or Instagram or Pinterest at Take Control ADHD. But to really connect with us, you can join us in the ADHD Discord community. Super easy to jump in the general community chat channel. Just visit takecontroladhd.com/Discord, and you will be whisked over to the general invitation and login. If you're looking for a little bit more, particularly if the show has ever touched you or helped you understand your relationship with ADHD in a new way, support the show directly through Patreon. Come on in, the water's warm. Patreon, it's listener-supported podcasting. With a few dollars a month, you can help to guarantee that we continue to grow this show, to add new features, to invest more heavily in our community. Just visit patreon.com/the ADHD podcast to learn more. Thank you, patrons, for hanging out. And I should say, patrons, once you're a patron at the deluxe level or better, you can watch the live stream of this show as we record it and get the show a week early. And you would see Nikki working hard to organize her desk setup. I mean hard right now, legit.
This is so annoying. Like
I'm just not happy.
I'm not happy. No. But can I just say something really quick about Patreon?
Yes.
That I'm really excited about is we are hosting several extra accountability sessions in March and in April for taxes.
Oh, dear.
So if you want a little bit of help to get your taxes, set up and the paperwork all gathered together, and you want to work with other people who are working on their taxes because it's a terrible project to have to do, we're offering that to all of our Patreon members. Another reason to join us.
So that starts Saturday, March 4th.
Right.
We're going to be offering weekend tax-themed study halls to the Patreon supporters at the deluxe level or better. Every Saturday and Sunday through tax day on April 18th, we will be hosting this 2-hour body double session with a focus on getting taxes done. And then we're going to be hosting extra study hall hours on the 17th and 18th of April, the last 2 official days to submit your taxes on time. So if you're not currently a Patreon member, this is a great time to get signed up and use some of that extra accountability at tax time.
Absolutely.
All right, Nikki, do we want to talk about Morgan with
Yes.
Morgan or just about
Yes.
Morgan? All right.
No, with her.
Let's go ahead and get Morgan in here. Morgan Hancock is a commercial real estate agent, entrepreneur, U.S. Army veteran, mother of 2, a passionate advocate for the arts, and founder of Bourbon with Heart, Inc., the world's first and only arts-focused bourbon charity. Can't wait to hear more about that. She joins us today to talk about her experience doing all those things, living and working with ADHD. Morgan, welcome to the ADHD podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. We have a lot to dig into.
I know we do. Can we start with the military stuff? Because this is a question I feel like I have wondered. I've wondered as long as we've been doing this show is how does ADHD affect direct, military service? Well, the constraints around military service in my head are such that I have a hard time understanding how ADHD would impact you. Can you talk a little bit about your experience there?
I can only speak from my experience, but I will say that They don't go together well.
Not a marriage in heaven.
Not
huh?
recommended. Yeah, so I definitely struggled in the military. I stayed in trouble a lot. I did a lot of push-ups. I got really strong.
So silver lining.
Yeah,
Silver
well,
lining.
I've lost it all. I mean, that was a long time ago. Yeah, I certainly lost all of that. But I did for that time. Yeah, I did a lot of push-ups.
So what is it
Did-
like day to day? Like how does it
Yeah.
how does
Did
it
you know you
impact
had
you? Yeah.
ADHD?
No, I didn't know, but I should have known for a lot of reasons, even well before that. But no, I just always thought I was a troublemaker.
Did your commanders, the folks who were in charge of you, your bosses, did they was there any insight? Did they have any understanding? Sounds like no. It's
They
just
don't.
push up.
I don't think they care about stuff that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they care about your. Now this has been a while. Okay, I will
Mhm.
say that from what I've seen and read and heard from others, the military is improving in a lot of ways. But this was 2007 to 11, and
Mhm.
even since then, I think the military's changed a lot. But I mean, we were in war at that time, and I just don't. I mean, I don't think they were, caring about if you had ADHD.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for your service
For
because
sure.
it is certainly a sacrifice that you made. What made you decide to join the military?
Well, I was a freshman in high school during 9/11. And so it was, that's just a big time in your life. And that was a really impactful event in not only my life, but a lot of my peers. So
Mhm.
there were a lot of us who, right after that happened, had kind of made a resolution that as soon as we could, we would do something. And I thought this was interesting too, as I think about this now. We don't really have, if there's not some call to action event like that, what motivates young people nowadays to join maybe family tradition or history. But, without that event, I would have never even thought to
Mm-hmm.
do it.
So I'm curious what you mean by troublemaker. What does that mean?
Just seeming to always be in trouble, not being able to follow the rules the way that other people were able to follow them. We'll just hop right into this, I guess. I was
Yeah.
actually kicked out of 4 high schools.
Mm.
I was in trouble in the middle. I got kicked out of my platoon, transferred to a different platoon. I
I have
completed
to
my
ask,
time. I got
is
an
it-
honorable discharge. So I did survive.
Is it safe
Yeah.
to ask or fair to ask, what are the kinds of things that get you kicked out of 4 high schools and your platoon?
We would just do ridiculous things like I just don't think I've ever said this one before. I don't know why I thought of this one. I actually got kicked out of summer school, which is like a whole nother
Oh
level.
dear. You go
Yeah.
to summer school because you got kicked out of other school, right? Like that's
Right. And I had not thought of this in so long. For some reason, we thought it would be funny we were a lot of pranks,
Yeah.
We had someone put like a cup of urine in the lemonade in the cafeteria. That was
Oh no.
oh
I got
dear.
us kicked out of summer school.
Oh dear.
But it was, I think we were just, you got to do a lot to fulfill the boredom.
You're being
and-
creative.
Yeah.
What can we do to
But
you
just
know.
watching everybody fill those cups, I remember was worth it though.
Uh,
Because
Oh my God. That is amazing.
I forgot about that
That's-
story. Thanks for bringing
That's
that
a
up.
like a
leave it to us to bring
a
to bring
truant's
that up.
power
Yeah.
move right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like you. I
Yeah.
want to get to know you better. Like, what else did you do?
Just
This is
don't drink
great.
lemonade around me. Just
Yeah,
don't. Yeah, anytime
seriously,
you do, you'll be
lemonade
like,
is danger zone.
I haven't done anything like that since I was a teenager.
You
Okay,
sure?
that's not.
Okay. And I assume it wasn't lemonade related incidents that got you kicked out of your platoon.
Yeah.
I imagine by the time you get to the Army, you're not as much a prankster. I don't know.
I don't know. We still did a lot of stuff. Actually, some of those now that I'm thinking, I'm not even telling some of those stories. But let's see, what got kicked out of my platoon? Oh, I remember now. So we would have this thing called fire guard where you always had to get up and 2 people had to be awake at all times. it's called Fire Guard. And that was when so you would have shifts. And so Fire Guard, we were supposed to be guarding, and I was never really doing that. I would use that as my time to like knock out taking a shower or like just anything but fire guarding. And
And fire guard, you're guarding for like other or like some sort of attack, like
yeah, it's not really fire. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just what it's
You're
called.
just watching, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I would like wake everybody up, and it would be like my party hour. It wasn't. And so
You were doing other things than what you were supposed to be doing. Got it.
Yeah, but that was just one. I mean, that wasn't the one reason, but it was just a lot of like silly things
Little
like that.
things.
Nothing.
Yeah.
But it would be silly things like that piled up.
Yeah.
What is it though? I mean, so you've been very busy since you got out of service, and at some point you must have made some sort of a turn in your relationship with attention
Life.
and attention seeking and attention,
And life,
fragment and life. Like, what is it that helped you do that? Like you said, you did not know you were living with ADHD when you're in the service, and so like how do all those things play together?
Well, I think that after you have enough kind of experiments with in life, you realize, okay, this behavior is not working out. The consequences of doing these things is not rewarding me. But I feel like a lot of it's the same personality, it's the same temperament, it's the same everything that's now driving me to do the entrepreneurial ventures that I do and the creative things that I do. It's just that I'm harnessing that power in a much more productive or socially acceptable way. So it's just, I think as time goes on, you learn how to better harness that for good and not stupid
for
stuff.
lemonade.
Yeah.
When were you actually diagnosed?
When I was 31, so I'm 36 now, so 5 years ago.
Okay, not too long.
No, not too long ago.
How do you feel like your day to day has changed? What's your initial exploration of, I often ask just because I know that once you discover there's a word for how you've been living inside your brain, like that changes things just in and of itself. And I'm curious what that experience was like for you.
Well, it did help me feel more secure that there's not something wrong with me. Because my whole life, my friends, family, they've been frustrated with me and my behavior, and they would label it all different things, and they thought I was like reckless or compulsive or even
a troublemaker. I mean, even that is like this label that you're putting on yourself.
Attention seeking.
Yeah.
Right. And so they would be very frustrated with those things, and it does wear on you after a while of, well, am I those things? And so I think that although even without getting the diagnosis, I was getting to a point of self-acceptance, because I had better learned how to harness it, and whatever it was, I was getting to a place of self-acceptance, but I think that it just validated it even more so.
So you're a mother of two, a commercial real estate agent, and you own and operate your own nonprofit charity for the arts. That is a lot to do in a day. How do you balance all of that?
Well, I don't know if I do balance it. I think that I thrive with a level of chaos, and so I embrace it. And I think a lot of people, from the outside, well, I know because every time I talk to anyone, they're like, I'm exhausted just watching you, how do you do this? And they don't understand it, but I thrive in that environment. So I like having 50 different things going on at all times.
How do you, I want to talk about some of the practicalities before actually, let's start with this. First of all, tell us your commercial, right? Real estate, not residential, right? Okay. My dad was in commercial for decades, and so like I know that there is a real vibe to how you manage a commercial real estate business. But also Bourbon with Heart. Tell us a little bit about Bourbon with Heart. What is that?
Well, before I do that, can I say something about the commercial real estate?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's funny because commercial real estate is known for being kind of traditional, dry,
Hmm.
straight. Like, so also kind of like the military, it's like, how would that match up with the personality? And
Let me
we
just say, no idea. No
right,
idea how
yeah.
the person I'm looking at does all of these things.
Well, and so it's funny because I would say when I talk about being a troublemaker, I would say I still am in some ways, and like I said, I've learned how to do it better maybe.
Hmm.
So with commercial real estate, even our marketing is way out of the box. I mean, it gets people uncomfortable. We have ruffled a lot of feathers. It is not I'll just say it's because commercial real estate, and no offense to your dad, it's a bunch of old white dudes
Oh, he was an
in
old white dude.
suits.
Yeah, no doubt. No, that's exactly what he was. Yeah, old white dude.
And it's me, and my business partner is a gay man. So it's a gay man and a woman. And we've really came in and shook up our commercial real estate industry here. It's been a lot of fun, but
Great.
we've certainly had some pushback on some
Yeah. Yeah. But what a great way to be able to go into an industry that you obviously like for whatever reasons you like it or you wouldn't
the
be doing
money.
it. What's that? The money. There's the motivator.
But wait a
Yeah.
minute,
But
because
to make it your own too, though, I think is great.
well,
Nice.
totally. But this is why I wanted to talk about some of the practicalities of it, because the other thing I know about commercial is that the sales cycles can be very, very long and require a great deal of patience. And
Yeah.
my ADHD doesn't offer me a lot of patience. And so yours must be a really special flavor of it because I don't know how I do it. And so I imagine the leading question is that why you go ahead and start other businesses? Like what you're just
Absolutely. It
waiting for
absolutely
sales to close?
is. Yes. And because I've got some that are going over 2 years, you know?
Yeah.
So yes, that is certainly why you've got to have other things to fill that space.
Yeah.
And I will be honest, even though I would say that I've gotten to a point where I am good at commercial real estate. I understand it. I find ways to make it fun, but I will admit I do continue on with it because something has to fund my other fun projects.
Right. Right.
So
Hallelujah.
there's a part, if money was no object, I can't say I would spend as much of my time
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
commercial real estate.
For sure.
Well, because your other project is a nonprofit
Right.
charity, right?
Yeah, there's
So
no profits in the name. So
yeah. But yeah, tell us a little bit about this. What is Bourbon with Heart? How did it get started? What is it? Yeah.
So Bourbon with Heart is a nonprofit organization, and we say we're arts-focused bourbon charity. So we're combining my two favorite things about Kentucky, bourbon and art. And we're bringing those together in a way that's really never been done before. And people are going crazy for it. In Kentucky, bourbon is a huge part of our culture, our economy, everything. And art is as well. But the world doesn't know Kentucky for its art scene the way that they know it for its bourbon scene. And so we're leveraging that existing popularity and influence of the bourbon industry to bring that awareness, raising funds, providing access for our arts community.
Mm-hmm.
How does that
That's great.
manifest? Like what kinds of events do you hold? Do you sponsor specific artists? How does it work?
A lot of different ways. So we had currently on exhibit, we have a bourbon barrel art exhibit. So it's painted bourbon barrels.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that has been a ton of fun. That's on display right now through March 31st at the Kentucky Fraser History Museum, which is the official starting point of the Bourbon Trail, if you know anything about that. And so, yeah, that was painted bourbon barrels. And then we have Derby coming up, which is huge here. So the next thing that we're doing, and the artists we just completed the artist call. We've got the artist painting, is a bourbon barrel bow tie art exhibit. So these are bow ties actually made out of bourbon barrels. And then hand painted by local artists and then put in a gallery on display for Kentucky Derby.
That is
And-
So
amazing.
are the bow ties are they like wood then?
Mhm.
Oh, how
Yes.
interesting.
So, and they were actually made by a group of U.S. military veteran woodworkers who discovered that woodworking helped their PTSD more than anything. And so they
Fantastic.
actually hand carved the bow ties, the wooden
Wow.
bourbon barrel bow ties, and then they go from them onto the artist who then further designed them. And it's not just paint. So they're painted, but we also have a blacksmith who works in iron and metals, and we have other woodworkers who then come in and maybe carve fine details into them, or pyrography, which is burning the designs
Wow.
into it. So they're all going to be, it's really layers of artists working on the same project. And it'll be 50 of them on display through the Kentucky Derby here.
And so when is the Kentucky Derby?
The first Saturday in May.
In May. So if we're not going to the Kentucky Derby, which probably most of us are not, how can we see this? Will there be a link or something that we can see photos? I would love to see the work. This is so interesting.
Yeah. So actually right now you can, for our bourbon barrel art exhibit, you can vote for your favorite design. You just go to our website, bourbonwithheart.org/vote. And the winning artist will win a cash prize, and then they win a donation to the nonprofit of their choice. And then it'll be the same for the bow ties when they're completed. So it'll all be on our website and our social media. And if you follow our social media, just Bourbon with Heart, we post a lot of fun stuff. We get, of the artists, sneak peeks of their projects as they're going. And it's a ton of fun. And we've raised a ton of money.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
What are we talking? What kind of scale raising money are we talking about? Are you giving away numbers yet?
Yeah, we definitely, we're proud of them.
Yeah.
For example, the Bourbon Barrel Art exhibit that is only 2 months, we've raised $63,000.
Nice.
That's great.
And the bow ties should be around 25.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What does this do for you personally? How did you transition from this? What does this fulfill for you being involved in the arts? Do you have an arts background? Do you work in a lot of bourbon barrels?
It's fulfilled a lot of things for me. More than I even thought it would when I first set out doing this. But you wouldn't believe the way that, one, art is so satisfying because it's really bringing the invisible to the visible. I mean, all the ideas that are going around in your head, you're watching them manifest. You're creating it out of nothing, which is very satisfying. But then also bringing in so many other people to do the same. And these are a lot of artists. We work with all different artists, from award-winning artists to artists who this is the first time the public has ever seen their work. And putting them all in the same room together and seeing what that's done for these people. I mean, I had a 60-year-old woman to call me the other day, artist. I've never felt this confident in my life. I've never been more proud of my stuff. I mean, because we like to make our artists like celebrities, and that's kind of part of our mission here. And we also, for the barrels, we had a group of 5 artists who have Down syndrome created one of the barrels, and their families called and said this was probably the best night of their life. The opening night. I mean, people were coming around getting autographs, and not only that, but their work it's incredible.
Being displayed. Yeah. That's great.
And I just love that. Yes, I have been an artist all my life, but that feeling, it's very vulnerable to share your art.
Yes.
For sure.
Because you're putting yourself out and saying, basically, judge me.
Yes.
But then it's also so the sense of pride when someone says, that's great. That's amazing. You're talented. I love that. And they recognize you in that way. And so being able to do that for these other people, it's immensely rewarding. But plus we raised the funds for other nonprofits. We cut some big checks just this last exhibit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm curious, with your ADHD and how, and you said that you thrive with, the chaos and everything. what on our show, we talk a lot about systems, and we talk a lot about like how we, try to organize and structure our days so that we can get done what we need to get done. What is a typical day like for you? What are some of your systems that you use to help you, stay on top of the real estate part of your life and also the charity part of your life?
I'm not going to say that I do this perfectly all the time, for sure. Sometimes I get overwhelmed and I have major meltdowns, but
Sure. We all
I,
do.
but I have really gotten where I have to time block the best I can for if it's real estate. I can't have any tabs, anything open on the computer, anything that is. And I have separate phone numbers for separate.
Mhm.
So Bourbon with Heart has a phone number. Real estate has a phone number where I can literally shut off that project. And because certainly if I have a Bourbon with Heart need pop up and I'm doing commercial real estate, it's going to be very hard because it's a lot more fun to do the other.
That, right?
Yeah. So that's been one thing that's been really helpful. Getting the multiple phone numbers. I know that may not apply to a lot of people because they may not have multiple ventures, but I just go on Google Voice and you just get a phone number. And so I put all my text and all my everything in for one.
That's really
project.
smart. Yeah. Makes sense because then you can separate it and go back and forth when intentionally.
Yes. Because if you don't get it's, my real estate 2 hours and I don't get a text that you can't vent
Right.
for.
Yeah.
So I guess time blocking is the best way to describe it. But again, I don't always do that right. I mean, sometimes I just don't have the willpower to do that. But and what you guys mentioned, I have used some of the programs for the body doubling when I do need to do the 2 hours of real estate. That helps a lot. Hired companies that help organize all my computer files and delete things because at the end of the day, I'll have 100 new files and it's just becomes such a mess. So hiring people I know that may not be feasible for everybody, but any of those type of programs have been super helpful.
Delegate where you can, for sure. Yeah. That's great.
How do you manage? I don't know, I don't want to get too in the weeds here, but since we're talking about kind of the practical day-to-day management stuff, how do you manage your sort of digital and paper document system? Like, because I know with the commercial real estate, like it comes with a lot of just files, sometimes paper files, sometimes digital files. Like what's your process for knowing what's active, what needs to be archived and saved, and what can be just deleted?
Yes. Google Drive, all the folders, everything in Google Drive. And if you could see, I have the Google Sheets, and they're literally all named different trackers. So it's like tracking this, tracking that, and everything is just on those everything that I need to do, I've put on a Google sheet. And when that's done, it's highlighted, one color. I mean, it's kind of archaic. It's nothing super advanced, but
it's visual,
really,
right?
Yeah,
if you're changing
so
colors when things are done,
Yeah.
that's a visual stimulation that says I've achieved something.
And the color coding, kind of in progress, done, and active. Yeah, that's been super, super helpful. I mean, I probably have a different Google sheet for every thing that I'm doing. And I get very strict about people like following the systems I put in place. I'll use Calendly, to book things. And then someone might shoot me a text message that says, this date or this time, and I'm like, no, you have to go on the Calendly link. I know it sounds silly, but you have to go on this link because I will not get this done. I won't remember. I'll never think about this again. And I know people get a little frustrated, but it's like, I don't force them to follow these systems. It'll be such a mess.
Yeah.
Right. It allows you to be good to other people. It allows you to be, that's kind of how I look at it. This like opens the gate for me to be generous, right? As long as you walk through that gate, then you have all of my attention when you ask for it. You have all of it.
Well, and I remember, Pete, you asked or telling me, don't leave a voicemail.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't leave a voicemail, because I won't get back to you. I won't hear it. I won't remember it. Like, if you need to contact me, text me or email me, but voicemail is not the way to do it.
Yeah. And that's actually worked very well. But I think part of it, I've been thinking about that like lately. And part of it is that I ended up in that space, like knowing that voicemail was it was just my downfall. Like, it was just the worst at a time when texting was becoming a big deal. Like, people were okay saying, oh, okay, I'll just send a text. I don't know if that would have worked, 10 or 15 years ago, me being a hard ass about voicemail when everybody was leaving voicemail, right? Like, that was just the thing. So I think I got lucky, but I do know that that's where my pain points are. What are yours, Morgan? Like, where do you find, what is that one card that you pull out that causes the whole house to fall down?
Voicemail is certainly one of those. And in fact, I wish I could play it right now. So I changed my voice recording. It literally says hang up and text me. People still don't listen. They still don't do it. But like you said, if they don't listen, then I warned them. This is the only way I'm gonna probably have a chance.
I think my voicemail still says, I love you, but I won't call you back if you leave a message.
Yeah.
Well, I've had some rude voicemails left because of that.
Yeah.
Because I am in real estate, and fortunately, commercial does move slower. So there's not that expectation that you're just constantly, 24/7 that a deal's gonna fall through in a second.
I'll bet those old white dudes don't really take kindly to you telling them not to leave a voicemail.
No, they don't. And so my voicemail actually says, you can leave a voicemail, but better yet, you should probably text or email me. And it's funny, some of the voicemails, when I do finally, if I ever go back and listen to them, they'll say, like, better yet, you pick up your phone. And I'm like, oh, okay, sassy.
Saucy. Yeah.
Wow. Exactly.
But yeah, so that's definitely one. And honestly, I can't even hardly handle text messages because they're gone. They're down. There's no way to, like, with an email, I can mark it unread if I need to get to it later.
Well, let me just ask you though. Let me see if I can solve this problem. What are you using right now? What's your phone?
Well, Apple iPhone.
And what's your? Have you updated the OS?
I have.
Okay, so now on the phone, you go into messages. I'm gonna do this little tech tip.
Yeah, I'm going to try this. All
so
right.
I have this list of messages here, right? And I have some pinned at the top, which is all great. I can now swipe over to, like, on a particular mark it unread.
Oh.
So you can do it. That is brand new this year. That is brand new feature this year. And it has saved my life because I am terrible about text message too. I drop the ball all the time because I can't mark it as unread. Yeah.
You're not lying.
No, why
would
I lie?
I know. Well, now we all got to try it.
Yeah.
Oh, but see, now I'm going to see these messages.
Right. Yeah. Don't do it yet.
Right now.
No, but that's it. But I only say that because you just highlighted the same pain point for me, and it is an absolute game changer. And I know Melissa is sitting in our chat room and she's saying, yeah, Android's had that for like 10 years. I know they're late to the game, Apple, but it is here now, and for productivity and like not dropping the ball on alerts, that is a huge help for me.
That would be definitely. Yeah. So I would definitely implement that, because that's why I will say, I'll even tell people, can you email me what you just said? Because if I don't, but now I know that someone's waiting on an addendum. So I should not have looked.
Oh no!
Oh no! We gotta wrap it up.
Yeah. Gonna be thinking about that now. But
well, this is terrific, and I you just so appreciate just kind of walking through your experience. Are you a native Kentuckian?
I am. Yes.
Yeah.
And so to go back to the Bourbon with Heart. the bourbon barrel, well, the barrel art exhibit is one exhibit. The bourbon barrel bow ties is another exhibit.
Mhm.
But there's lots more. So there's because it's not just the visual, it's not just the fine arts, but it's also performing arts. So we have bourbon and Broadway, bourbon and ballet, and bourbon and Beethoven.
Cool.
And these are all similar concepts where we're bringing in local artists in these different fields and bringing them together with a bourbon component and raising funds, and it's a lot of fun. And we have Louisville Slugger is here. That's my best friend. So we're gonna do a art exhibit where
Bourbon and baseball.
and they paint all the different custom bats.
Oh, cool.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
What a cool thing. And I assume for those who are so interested, visit bourbonwithheart.org and they can look for ways to support the organization. And if you want to support Morgan, go buy some commercial real estate.
That's
from
right.
her. That'd be awesome too. Don't worry, long sales cycle. Don't leave your voicemail. You're going to be great.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Morgan, for being here. We appreciate you sharing your story and giving us some new insight on Bourbon with Heart. Awesome.
For sure.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody, for downloading and listening to this show. We appreciate your time and your attention. Don't forget, if you have something to contribute to this conversation, we're heading over to the Show Talk channel in our Discord server, and you can join us there by becoming a supporting member at the deluxe level or better. On behalf of Nikki Kinzer and Morgan Hancock, I'm Pete Wright, and we'll see you right back here next week on Taking Control, the ADHD podcast.